Here we will see string functions in SQL Server. First is LTRIM. This function returns a string from a given string after removing all the leading spaces. General syntax is LTRIM with string, where string is a required parameter which specifies the string from which we are going to remove the leading spaces. For example, select LTRIM with leading spaces and SQL Server. When execute this function, the output will give SQL Server LTRIM function by removing the leading spaces. Next is NCHAR. This function is used to get the Unicode character with the provided integer code based on the Unicode standard. General syntax is NCHAR number code, where number code is a required parameter which specifies the number code in the Unicode standard to return the character. For example, select NCHAR with 65, it will give the output A. Next is PATINDEX. This function returns the first occurrence of a pattern in a string starting place. If the string is not found, it will return a 0. General syntax is PATINDEX with pattern, string, where pattern is a required parameter which specifies the pattern to find in the string. It must be surrounded with %sign. Other wildcards can also be used in the pattern, such as bracket with exponential mark, and string is also a required parameter in which the pattern is going to search. For example, select PATINDEX with GRA. In program snippet, it will give the output 4, since GRA appears in the strings at a starting position 4. Next is replace. This function is used to replace all the occurrence of the substring in a specified string with another string value. General syntax is replace with string, old string, new string, where string is a required parameter which specifies the original string. Old string is a required parameter which specifies the string to be replaced, and new string is also a required parameter which specifies the new replacement string. For example, select replace Microsoft SQL Server, SQL, HTML. It will give the output Microsoft HTML Server. Here SQL is replaced with HTML. Next is replicate. This function repeats the string with the specified number of times. General syntax is replicate string, integer, where string is a required parameter which specifies the string to repeat, and integer is also a required parameter which specifies the number of times to repeat the string. For example, select replicate SQL, 5, which will give the output 5 times SQL. Next is reverse. This function displays the character string in the reverse order. General syntax is reverse with string, where string is a required parameter which specifies the string to reverse. For example, select reverse SQL will give the output LQS, since it returns the value by reversing the SQL. Now we will execute these queries. First we will use database project 1. First we will use LTRIM function. So select LTRIM. I will give in single quote. First I will give spaces. Then I will write SQL Server. And when I execute this, it will give the output SQL Server by removing the leading spaces. Next we will see NCHAR function. So select NCHAR for 65. And when I execute this, it will give the output A. Next we will see PATINDEX. So select PATINDEX. First we will give the pattern, program snippet. And when we execute this, it will give the output 4. Since GRA present at the 4th position in program snippet, we will use this with table. First we will display the data, select star from employee. Then we will check select PATINDEX. We will give the pattern as IN, last name from employee. And when we execute this, for record number 3 and 4, it will display the position 2, since IN present in record number 3 at position 2. And for other it is not present, so it will return the value 0. Next we will see replace function. So select replace. First we will specify the string as Microsoft SQL Server. Then we will specify the string to search. I will give SQL, and then I will give string to replace as HTML. and when we execute this, it will display Microsoft HTML server since SQL is replaced by HTML. Then we'll use this with table. Then I will use select, replace first name, comma N, comma capital N, comma first name from employee. When I execute this, it will display all the N in capital letter from the column first name. Then we'll see the function replicate. So select, replicate. First I will specify the string SQL, comma 5, and when I execute this, it will display SQL 5 times. Then we'll use this with column. So select, replicate first name, comma 3, comma first name from employee, and when I execute this, it will display first name 3 times. Then we'll see reverse function. So select reverse and specify the string as SQL, and when execute, it will display LQS since SQL is reversed and displayed. Then we'll use this with table. So select reverse first name, comma first name from employee, and when I execute this, it will display first name in reverse order.